friends. It is Saturday, it's the 7th of February, and I've been feeling a little depresso, so I have quite a bit of decision paralysis, and honestly, I don't really want to do anything. I don't really have any plans, so I'm not really going to force myself to do anything. Yesterday, I read for like maybe around 3 hours, which was like a lot for me. It's been really hard for me to like sit down and read even for 1 hour. Like sometimes I can like barely manage 30 minutes. And so yesterday I kind of just like gave myself the grace to try to not think of anything else and kind of just escape, because I was feeling really shitty about the state of the world and the news that's constantly coming out and just how fucked everything is and has been, and injustice. So yeah, that's been, today I'm just gonna try and not to give that my energy and really conserve my well-being for myself as much as I can. So I figured I might try and make this into a little challenge. I've decided on rolling a dice, just a regular 6-sided dice for now, and it will tell me how many hours I should spend reading today. Like I said before, I don't really have plans. The only thing is that I think I'm expecting a call from my best friend. She lives all the way in Canada, so hi for watching, I love you. And so that's kind of the only thing that I'm expecting today. I don't really want to go outside, so I just actually made my coffee. It's like already it's 2 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock right now. I woke up at 12. I don't really have a great sleep schedule. I don't really sleep very well, so anyways, I am going to take you through all the books that I'm reading currently. I'm literally in the middle of like 8 different books. It's a lot. So let me pull up my story graph. This was the first book that I picked up at the beginning of the year, The Warrior Prophet by R. Scott Baker. This is a big boy, over 700 pages, and I'm over 50% of the way through. So this is like going slow and savoring it, and it's really fucking good. Like, it's crazy how much more I'm enjoying it than I was enjoying the first book. But like, not to say that the first book was bad in any capacity, it just didn't really reach my expectations. But I've been so happy to get back into this world and see how the Holy War is progressing. So this is definitely one of my strong contenders. I usually like to read this during the day or the morning because it talks a lot about like strategy and philosophy, and so I need to be a bit more like awake when I'm reading this. And then I'm also reading Blackouts by Justin Torres. I have flown through this. I'm like maybe 70% of the way through it now. It is so easy to read, especially because of the mixed media. There's some pages that are like almost blank and some pages with like full pictures. I can't really show you the pictures because this talks about like sex variants pretty much, which is just like the term for homosexuals used during this time. So I don't know, this is like kind of like a historical fiction, but it's also kind of contemporary. I'm not entirely sure what time this is set in, but it is talking about events from like the 1950s, about a young gay man going to visit an older gay man who is practically on his deathbed, and this older man, Juan, is telling him that he wants the younger man. I don't know if you even get the younger man's name, actually. I don't think we even get his name. Wow. Anyways, so he's asking this younger man to continue a project that he had started, which started even before he was born, which is to kind of compile this book of research and photos about homosexuals. But the thing is that it takes a lot of these like case studies written up, and they are all blacked out, and it kind of creates this like kind of like poetry. And honestly, it's really beautiful because this throughout, like, that isn't even really the main focus of the story. The main thing that we've gone through is each of these men telling their stories in very like artistic ways. Like the older man Juan will ask the young man to tell him a story about like some of the men that he slept with, but make it into a movie. And so then he will narrate literally his story like a movie. He'll say the camera zoomed in and we were on the inside of the bar, and it's just like it's telling stories within stories, and honestly it's really beautiful, and it's just I'm really loving this so far, and I'm really happy that I picked this up. It's beautiful. What else am I reading? I'm also listening to an audiobook. I'm listening to A Haunting in the Arctic by C.J. Cook. I'm about 35% of the way into this book, and it's just about, it's got dual timeline. There's this woman, I think in the 1800s, who has somehow ended up as a stowaway on a ship that her dad like works for the company of that whaling ship, that will go from Scotland to a journey into the Arctic. So she's ended up there kind of against, well, really against her will, and we're seeing what's happening to her. And then we also follow a timeline in 2023, I believe, of this woman who wants to find that ship's shipwreck and document everything about it before I guess like the government wants to take that ship out to sea and sink it. For what reasons? They said that they wanted to create like a natural reef at the bottom of the ocean because the ship is docked at a port of an abandoned town. So I'm slowly making my way through that. I do see some like horror elements and some like folk horror elements which are interesting, and some pretty disgusting like body horror so far, so we will see how that goes. If I want to pick up something like, if I want to do something creative and artsy today, I think I will probably have that going in the background. I still have more. Hold on. I'm also reading The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. I'm 50% into that one, and I'm actually like considering a DNF. I'm not sure if I want to continue, because I just don't really feel the pull towards it, but I am kind of like, I kind of want to give myself a bit more of a chance with it, because I think I mentioned this in my last video, but this has been a really popular book. This has come up on like everyone's TBRs for the winter. So this is about a historian and a lady knight, but they're both in completely different timelines, and then they somehow are very like strongly connected to each other and connected to kind of saving each other's lives. And so the historian somehow travels back in time to when the lady knight's last mission was, and they kind of help each other through hard times. And so there's like 4 incarnations of that, I believe. And I'm like halfway through the second one, and so it switched perspectives into the knight's perspective. And so I guess I am interested in hearing that. I at least want to get through that section and then see how I'm feeling about it and if I want to continue. I'm just not caring as much as I wanted to care, unfortunately. And last but not least, yesterday I started and made a good chunk of the way through House of the Beast by Michelle Wong. Now this was an anticipated read. I've been like having my eye on this since before it even came out. I remember like looking through Michelle Wong's whole Instagram campaign for this book, and I was really excited about it. And so I'm 25% into that one, and really loving that one so far. There are some kind of issues I have with that. because this is her first, like, this is her debut novel. She is an illustrator for The Legend of Korra, and she also has included some little cute illustrations within this book. So it's super cute, and I'm loving the story so far. It's kind of complicated to explain, but basically we're in this world where there are four, like, houses that all worship four different gods. And every, like, I think it's like every 30 years or something, there is a fallen star that has the potential of, like, becoming a god. And so there's, like, this quest to go into that, like, plane between, like, the veil of the real world and the god's world to kill that fallen star before it becomes a god, so it doesn't, like, threaten the four gods that are already established, pretty much. And so we follow this main character who is a bastard's daughter of one of those main houses. And so part of the ritual to kind of not really sacrifice, but kind of like a sacrifice that she has to make in, like, for the god in order to, like, work for the god, is to cut off her arm. So she's given this, like, really cool black steel robotic arm, and she has to, like, learn how to fight because her house is, like, the house of death and the house that, like, worships the beast. And so that's the basis of the story, and it's really good. It's really dark at first, like, the beginning of the story. This girl is 11 years old. She gets her arm cut off at 11 years old, and it's just, that's traumatic. That's genuinely traumatic. So she has 8 years to prepare for the pilgrimage when the star will fall, and unfortunately we don't really get, like, a montage through those 8 years. We get the beginning of when she comes to the house and her arm is taken, and then we get 8 years later, and she really, I don't like that. I feel like she really missed an opportunity to show us how she grew, because she was a bastard's daughter. She didn't know who her father was, and so she was, like, brought here not knowing anyone, not knowing, like, how anything, like, within this house really worked. I think Michelle really missed an opportunity to show us a bit more of the character growth through that 8-year, like, montage, unfortunately. And other than that, there are some things about, like, the world building and the like, religion that aren't explained entirely, like, clearly enough. But again, I am only 25% into it, so hopefully that will get resolved and we will learn more as we go. I'm really enjoying that one, and so I have quite a range of books to pick for my little challenge today. I don't know which one I want to focus on yet, but I think I'm gonna do, like, sprints of at least 45 minutes, and then add that all up to however many hours this little dice will tell me to do. So let's go ahead and just roll the dice, and the die, whatever, and then see how long we will go for today. I'm just gonna do it on top of this book, so okay, that's a 3. Okay, 3 hours. Let's see. So Leandra at the TBR 0 is starting sprints in 40 minutes. So I know the first part is going to be chatty for her, and so I'm going to start my timer now and try and do the 40 minutes before those sprints start. And so I keep forgetting that I have the Focus Bean app made by Hank Green, and I haven't used this in a while. Can you focus? So this is my bean that it makes socks. So I'm gonna set a little timer for now for 40 minutes, 40 socks. You can do it, bean. So here we go, and let's go. Look at the little bean butt. Okay, I'm gonna start. Wait, hold on. I started that too soon. I'm gonna start with The Warrior Prophet. This is my morning book, and so let's get into this. This is the best pen in existence. This is like one of like the only thing that I use for annotations, because you get 4 colors and I have 4 different like meanings for the colors and my annotation tabs. I love this. I love it. Hello, first update we have. I've done 2 sprints of 40 minutes, so I've been reading for an hour and 20 minutes. I've been slowly making my way through this, and I started on page 383, and now I'm at page 420, so that's only about 40 pages. I go through this at such a slow pace. Like, I read this really slowly, and I finished chapter 15, and that chapter had me questioning things. There was some very intense scenes that I I don't know. I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it. I might talk to my friend Slay about it, because he's the one that like mostly recommended and pushed me to like keep reading this, and oh my god, yeah. What the fuck? What the fuck is happening? And I was looking on secondhand stores on Vinted to buy the 3rd book, because I'm really like cutting down. Well, I've always pretty much been very intentional about my book buying, mostly. It's just when I see a good deal, you know, I take advantage of the good deal. And so I'm also still trying to put some parameters around my book buying, so I'm gonna allow myself to buy the next book in a series if it's something that I've read and I would like to continue, but I'm gonna try not to buy the next book in the series if I haven't yet read the book before it. So, and or if it's something like a new series or another book that isn't in a series, then I want to like at least make that a priority still, and like, you know, I want to buy it for a reason. So recently I got 1984 by George Orwell, and so I would really like to read this within the coming months, especially because I have a very interesting video project that I'm thinking about doing in relation to reading this book. So yeah, regardless, it is about 5 o'clock. Fuck, it's 5 o'clock right now. I only had breakfast, I didn't eat lunch yet, so I'm considering I should probably like step outside today. I didn't step outside yesterday either. I should probably go for a silly little mental health walk before it gets totally dark, but I don't really want to. But at the same time, I don't really have food, and so I also need to get something to eat for lunch and dinner, and or dinner. So I'm not entirely sure what I want to do right now. Also, because I would like to spend some time doing some creative craft, I was thinking maybe starting a crochet project or doing something else artsy, like maybe watercolor or working with clay, and I don't know what to do. I mean, I should probably go outside, shouldn't I? I still have another like hour and 40 minutes that I would need to continue reading to reach my 3 hours from the dice roll. So we'll see. I'll take a minute to think, and also maybe like plan, go to the kitchen, see what I have that I could cook, and I'll get back to you. Hello, my friends. I have another update. So I did not go outside, but instead I was thinking to go out, take a walk to the grocery store, pick up some supplies, but I'm trying to be a bit more conscious about what I already have. So I did cook a nice, good, yummy meal with things that I already had, and I didn't get any footage of it because honestly it didn't look very good, but it tasted delicious. I followed a little recipe I found on Pinterest that is kind of like a shakshuka with like tomatoes and eggs and onions, and put that over rice, and it was delicious. And my boyfriend came over, we had that dinner together, and then we kind of just hung out for a while. So now it is like almost 11 p.m. I think. Yeah, it's almost 11 p.m. But I'm a night owl. I will stay up at least for another 2 hours, I would say. I feel like I have energy. I've been snacking on some M&Ms. But anyways, update. So while I was cooking, I had about an hour of audiobook time, and so I was listening to A Haunting in the Arctic for an hour, and that was interesting. We keep on getting, it's kind of like a slow story, but we keep on getting like these nuggets of like whatever the horrors are gonna be, like what is haunting these characters. And so especially the fact that it's like dual timelines, I'm very interested in seeing what it is that's going to connect these characters. So it's going slow, but it's promising. So that added another hour to my timer, so I'm at 2 hours and 20 minutes of reading time today. And so I have at least another 40 minutes that I'd like to spend reading to meet my goal today. I'm thinking to pick up Blackouts now. I technically only have about like 60 pages left until I finish it, and because the rest is kind of just like end footnotes kind of, and then some like acknowledgements and just like a lot of like appendix extra things, which I will read, but just until the end of the story is 60 pages. I don't think I'll finish all of that in only 40 minutes, but I think I could at least make it through halfway of this, and then maybe probably finish it tomorrow. But I'm still super intrigued by what I was reading from this today. And I texted my friend and I'm like, yo, this shit? And he's like, yeah, it just gets crazier. So, I don't know, like, again, I go through a very slow pace with this, but, you know, it's adding up, And so, I don't know, like, I feel like I really want to finish a book. I really want to finish a book because of how much I'm in the middle of reading right now, and I want to feel like at least a little bit of relief and sense of completion so that I can like focus on these other ones. But I don't know what to do. Like, I'm so intrigued by this, and but I feel like I could make a pretty good like way through this. The thing is, I think I might continue this little challenge tomorrow. So this will just be like a little weekend challenge vlog for you. Tomorrow I think might be a little bit busier, but only like a little bit. And also I hope that maybe I can like wake up a little bit earlier. In fact, my friend didn't call today. I remembered that we planned to have the call tomorrow. But then later there is another hardcore concert that I'm probably going to be going to, and I'm really excited for that because the pull that I'm feeling towards like being in the mosh pit, God, I need that so bad right now. Especially after yesterday and after how like shitty I felt yesterday, just like being in a mosh pit would like heal a part of me. And so I think that's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm gonna go with some really good friends, and I'm excited about that. I'm not like the biggest fan of the genre of the band that's gonna be playing, but I'm still gonna have a good time. I went to a show also last weekend, and it was the same deal. It was more like thrash hardcore, which isn't really my jam because I feel like there's way too many blast beats, and I just would really prefer cleaner breakdowns and having like distinct breakdowns. But anyways, I feel like I doubt, I don't know, I don't know who you viewers are, but if anyone is into hardcore music, let me know and you would know what I'm talking about. If not, ignore that. This is not gonna make sense. Or you might be one of those people who doesn't understand like how screaming is like good music, but that's your opinion. That's your opinion. Anyways, that was a rant. I'm I don't know, maybe like toss a coin or something, or try and like start a little bit from each of these from where I left off, see what I'm feeling more, and then set the timer and read for the rest of the 40 minutes. So okay, my friends, it is past midnight now, and that marks the first day to my little reading challenge. I ended up choosing Blackouts, and I think I read for maybe closer to an hour instead of just 40 minutes. I'm not entirely sure. I just read until the start of part 4, and so I will definitely be able to finish this tomorrow. I'm not really going to go to sleep now. I think I might just like stay up for a little bit, maybe watch some booktube, because that's kind of what I spend like way too much of my time on, is that I spend so much time on YouTube. So I might just indulge myself in that for a little bit. I've been obsessed with watching everyone's TBR videos, so I might do that for a bit, and then maybe if I feel like still kind of continuing on with a little bit of this, or just picking up something else like right before I go to sleep, then I think that'll just be a little extra reward, and I will let you know the statistics of what I read within that, like, the 3 hours. So I'm gonna do my little routine, and then go to sleep, and hopefully don't wake up too late, and then start this journey all over again, and you will be there with me on this journey. So that's it for now. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow.
TBR this year, and this is going to help a lot in guiding what I pick, and it's just going to be so much fun. I read about 5 to 7 books a month, so
Good morning, my friends. I look and feel fucking exhausted, so don't mind that. I tried to wake up a bit early, but I had a bad dream, and so I felt fucking exhausted, and kind of just tried to go back to sleep a little bit more. But that means now it is 11:30. I mean, but like, I'm awake, but I just feel like I'm always in this state of like perpetual just tiredness. So that's fun. So today my best friend is supposed to call because I mixed up the days, but also the concert that I was supposed to go to is tonight at like 5 p.m. Since it's Sunday, it's much earlier, but then hopefully that means that it will also end a bit earlier. So I need to roll the dice and see how much I should be reading today, and then we shall go on this adventure. I just want to go, after I do that and figure it out, I want to go make my breakfast, and then we'll get all cozy and we'll get to it. Okay, we got this gorgeous little set. 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, that works out, actually. That is 3 again. So I think that's definitely doable. I was worried that it would be like 6, and I just like wouldn't have time for that today. So I made some bread with some yogurt feta garlic spread. I got some sun-dried tomatoes and some beautiful little eggs, and I'm so excited to eat this. Usually in the morning, this is my time when I spend a lot of time watching YouTube, but I'm gonna try not to do that, and instead I'm gonna try and focus on actually reading and picking up House of the Beast. friends, future editing Mars here. I had like 5 minutes of a chatty clip, 2 different clips, that I didn't realize when I was filming. I put the wrong setting on my camera and it ended up filming in slow motion. And there's like no audio attached to it, so I'm speeding it up and trying to read my lips to remember what the fuck I was talking about. So here I'm gonna try and like recap my update from those clips. Basically, in the morning I spent like 45 minutes reading House of the Beast while I was eating my breakfast, but then I got sidetracked by watching some YouTube, and then I got deluded into thinking that I had more time than I actually did have and started editing this video. And so that took up a little bit of time. I didn't get very far into editing. I'm gonna do most of it today. But then my friend ended up coming a bit earlier to pick me up, and so I got only about an extra like 15 minutes of reading done at that time. So I had 1 hour done in the morning, afternoon, and then I got ready for the concert, and I'm still gonna like insert a clip of my outfit because I looked pretty bitchin' and I looked really cute. And I shared a little anecdote about the shirt that I was wearing representing the band Boundaries, and it makes me laugh every time I remember that once I met someone for the first time while I was wearing that shirt, and they asked, is that a heavy metal band or do you just really love your boundaries? And I was like, yes, just yes. I love that shirt, I love that band. If you like metalcore, you should listen to that band. I think that's pretty much all I have to update. I mean, during that chatty session I was also just talking a lot more about like logistics of how much time I would have when I came back home, and you'll see the rest of the updates now.
Hai ragione, ma che culo ha Como, Dio cane?
So it is many hours later. We did not actually end up going to the concert, but we kind of just rounded up a group of friends and ended up just going to one of their houses and hanging out. We had a couple beers, we were playing the game Dixit, which is pretty much like Cards Against Humanity, but with pictures, if you haven't played it before, and it was really fun, and we were all like listening to like really hardcore music, so it was a vibe. It was a really nice vibe, and I had a good time. So it was just many hours later, and not doing great on this whole challenge thing because I did end up reading before I had to go out and meet my friend. So I've reached only 1 hour of reading time today. It is 11:30, so I came home a while ago, but again, I was procrastinating by watching YouTube videos, so we'll see what I can do. I definitely like still have energy, I'm like still awake, so I think I'm gonna do my best in reading either House of the Beast or Blackouts, and then we will go through the statistics of everything and see how well I've done this weekend. So my friends, it is time for the final update. Last night I did end up finishing Blackouts. I just couldn't film an immediate reaction to it because I was crying. Literally the last line made me start sobbing, and just like the last scene. And it wasn't even like, I'm not sure how other people's reactions would be towards it. I don't think that it was inherently like super duper sad, but for me it really hit because I was reminded of my grandma. Like I said at the beginning of describing this story, the older man, Juan, was literally on his deathbed, and it just made me think about my grandma, who I lost a couple years ago, and kind of just like filled me with that type of regret of wishing I could have spent more time with her, and just like also in a different way, like wishing that we could have talked about certain things more. And I'm gonna like not explain too much because I might probably start crying again. So fuck. So technically the last like 20 pages of this is actually a zine that the artist made, and it's about like slang used about like the gay community. It's an A to Z of choice words snipped from The Language of Homosexuality, an American Glossary, as compiled by G. Legman, 1941. And at the back, the author writes, "Dear reader, Blackouts concerns a research study titled Sex Variants, a Study of Homosexual Patterns. After I finished editing the novel, I couldn't stop thinking about the glossary found at the back of the research study, both about how much of the queer argot of the 1930s survives in our contemporary vocabulary and about those terms that have vanished. So I decided to make a little zine." And so it's really cute. It just has these words such as abdicated, angel with a dirty face, basket, and etc, etc. I'm not going to show all of it. And so yeah, I'm really happy that I was able to finish something in this little vlog and make quite a bit of progress on the rest. So I really enjoyed this. I thought that it was a beautiful story, even though it did have a lot of ambiguity, but it was interesting that at the end, with like the footnotes and the appendix, that we figure out that this is kind of like semi-autobiographical, but it is a work of fiction. And so we don't know who is like, well, we know he does mention who is real because this does mention the actual creators of the Sex Variants book and how they were real in the history of, you know, homosexual history, and how they actually conducted this research. But he does make it clear that there are some aspects that he does like aggrandize and fictionalize. So I think it's kind of interesting that we don't really know what is what, but it still makes like a beautiful story out of these people's lives and how they have contributed to history. It's very entertaining. It was very beautiful. The structure and the storytelling was very different and unconventional, and I appreciated that. It does kind of leave you wanting more in terms of some of the stories that were told, but at the same time, it's like you're content with that being just the story between the two of them, because it's like their own private moments, and we were given like a window into that, but there's something that we'll never know. And I still thought that it was really beautiful, and it was really interesting also seeing the duality of the title, Blackouts, because it's not just the case studies that were physically blacked out, but the main character also deals with actual like blackouts and having kind of like seizures where they just freeze and or kind of just go back into their mind and not really register reality and not really register what is going on, and kind of just get stuck in this freeze response pretty much. And I think that was really heavy, and that played a lot within the storytelling. And yeah, I thought this was just a beautiful personal story and a really refreshing kind of different genre that I have been reading, and I would recommend this. I would definitely recommend this. So technically yesterday I did not actually fulfill the 3 hours that was required of the challenge. I did, however, finish at least or over 2 hours, I would say, with the time that it took me to finish this book. It took me over 2 hours, but then today, this morning, I went out to a cafe and just had some coffee, had a little brioche, and I spent the next hour reading this, and so that kind of makes up for the time that I missed from yesterday. So let us get into the statistics of how much I read. I already gave you in a previous part of the video the statistics from the first day, so the statistics for the second day is that from reading House of the Beast, I went from I think 25% to 33%, and so with what I logged on Storygraph, it said that I read 37 pages. And yesterday from Blackouts, I read 68 pages. So that's technically just what counts for yesterday. But then this morning from what has fulfilled the extra third hour, I read 24 pages. So in total, throughout these 6 hours of reading, I was reading between 4 different books. And so from A Haunting in the Arctic, I finished 90 minutes, but I listened to this on audio at 1.75 speed. So it only took me an hour. So 90 minutes of that. And then House of the Beast, I only read 37 pages. For Blackouts, we have a total of 102 pages. And finally, for The Warrior Prophet, we have a total of 62 pages. All of that in 6 hours. So I'm hopefully keeping the momentum going. I am definitely gonna keep reading this before I go to sleep tonight, and hopefully I can continue doing more fun weekend vlogs like this. I really just wanted to do this because I miss making vlogs, and it just seemed like a lot of fun. So I hope that you enjoyed this as well, and please let me know what you are reading, what you are looking forward to, or maybe which one of these books that I've been reading you are also most interested in reading, or if you've read them already, let me know what you think. All of that fun stuff, all of that conversation in the comments. If you would like to also leave a little like, if you'd like to come back and see some more of this content from me, you can go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you at the Starlit Library, and I will hope to see you in the next one. Bye!